So welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're taking you through some of the headlines that are hitting right now over this weekend. A bit of a quiet period in the market. Price action not doing a lot, mainly ranging right now, but there's still quite a few headlines to go through here. So going to take you through these, see what the heck has been going on. We're seeing the crypto market cap still at around $1 trillion, 950 bill as per filming right now. But as you can see from this kind of heat map here, most of the cryptocurrencies are either up or down, just the odd 1 to 2%. No major rips or dumps across these major cryptocurrencies, these large caps. So all well and good, a range bound market right about now, but what can we expect next week? Potentially continuation, or are we going to see a dump? We will wait and see for that. We have played out a pretty healthy move here for Bitcoin from the bottom up almost around 23%, I think it was, from the bottom. So a nice bit of consolidation at this price level would be rather welcome, and we're starting to see quite a few altcoins actually pick up a bit of steam over the last 7 days. We'll go through the top gainers in today's video. But in terms of industry news, let's just go through some of the headlines over this last week. The first one here, in a lawsuit filed at the beginning of the month, a California resident accused Solana Labs of selling unregistered securities. So within the lawsuit, this individual is claiming that these are unregistered securities, these SOL tokens that he bought and later sold at a loss, and that insiders were trading these illegally and were just dumping on retail's heads. That is typically how pre-sales work. When SOL VCs like Multicoin, etc., get involved and buy SOL at like cents, and then as the market progresses and Solana tokens worth a few $100, of course they're going to be selling them, realizing some profits. But apparently this person does not like that. So he's saying retail suffered. There was a lot of shenanigans behind the scenes. Typical stuff, disgruntled retail participants. So Kobe responds to this: I struggle to have respect for the people that eat an L and then try and cry about it to daddy. If you think it's a security, don't lose money trading it in the first place and then complain to the government after you lose. And I think this is a good sentiment here, because if people do complain about losses within crypto markets, more regulation is going to come in. The regulation is going to probably be very, very harsh. And if you are a US citizen, you're probably not to be allowed to actually buy crypto assets in the future if they decide to deem that only accredited investors should be buying such tokens. So if you do cry to wolf too many times, bad things do happen. Second up here, we have this: despite repaying its loan to the MakerVault, Celsius situation continues to worsen, with new reports claiming its strategies led to multi-million losses for customers and being slapped with a fraud lawsuit from its former money manager. I couldn't make sense as to whether this is legit or not. So this is an account that goes by OXB1, introduces himself at the top of this thread as, "Hi, I'm Jason Stone, and I was running or managing the OXB1 address." This is a very famous Ethereum address, known by everyone in the industry as, OXB1 being a mega whale that was doing some really good investments, obviously doing a lot of yield farming as well. But this person is suggesting that they were one of the money managers for Celsius here, and they actually are owed some money by Celsius through their company called KeyFi. So they take them to the court over this, and within this as well, they also kind of call Celsius a load of names, and also suggest that they were not hedging their exposures. And on top of that, they suggest that they lost hundreds of millions of dollars in impermanent loss through various DeFi strategies that were employed, and those were employed by OXB1 here. Whether or not this guy actually did do this or not, we can't really know that for sure. But this is, as Jordy Alexander says within this tweet, hopefully you just made this shit up, because if this is accurate, your level of incompetence is absolutely mind-blowing, because he admits to losing hundreds of millions of dollars in impermanent loss via DeFi. So he says you and Mashinsky took $2 billion from retail, degen them into a place where you, as the expert, have no understanding of how the hedging works, yet you assume that the noob, i.e. Mashinsky and Celsius, knew it and was doing the hedging. So this is a case of negligence and incompetence of the highest order, if this case is true. Didn't really want to cover this one too in depth due to the fact there's loads of lawsuits going out to all of these loan providers right now, and it's a bit of a mess. You don't know the truth, you can't see the wood from the trees, and so it makes for a rather messy situation. But a bit of an update there. in terms of that one. Then we have this, yet more Contagion here. I didn't even know what blockchain.com was, so blockchain.com, but it says they face a $270 million loss on loans it provided to struggling hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital. So it seems 3 Arrows were literally borrowing off absolutely anyone they could get money from. And even blockchain.com here, an entity I hadn't even heard of until this article was shown here. This is, another level of more exposure that 3AC had to the markets, and presumably those are either uncollateralized loans or on very favorable terms, and it looks like those are going to be huge losses for that entity. And then finally here we have, citing the Twitter team's inability to provide sensitive data about its operations, Elon Musk pulls the plug on his deal, $44 billion, to purchase Twitter. So he wanted proof that Twitter wasn't, 95% bots, and they could not provide that to him. So moving on, Celsius continues to pay off some of its debts here, paid off the MakerVault. Now they're moving on to Aave and Compound. It seems that they started to make good on a $250 million worth of debt on Aave and Comp, possibly in an attempt to reclaim collateral it posted as guarantees. I think what is going on here is that we're seeing, a final position statement is going to be made at some point in the not too distant future when they pay down all the outstanding loans. So, that kind of position statement, how big is the hole, I think will be answered very soon. There was also this one hit the headlines here. More bad news. Celsius loan liquidation caused no losses to Tether. So Tether, again, had a loan with Celsius, and Celsius's position was liquidated to ensure that they were not scathed here, Tether. It was over collateralized to the tune of 130%. So no good news, really. More bad news, but here we go. What is the 7-day chart saying here for some of the top cryptocurrencies? So these are the large caps. These are the biggest movers in the market right now. Number one over the last 7 days, Convex Finance is up a whopping 50%. This is one that I will be adding to. I really like Convex. I like the fact that it prints quite a bit of capital if you are to lock your Convex up. Then we have Quant, another one. If CBDCs are going to be the rage and the talk of the town over the next few years, Quant's involvement with CBDCs in Latin America could be something well worth having your eye on. You can see again 39% increase over the last 7 days. ICP, the meme coin that just went down only, is starting to come up a little bit. Of course, most things have been sold off beyond belief. Aave still below 3 digits at $74, up 31%. They've recently announced plans for their own stablecoin that will be over collateralized. Then we have the likes of Polygon and Thorchain and Uniswap, all big bounces here. I think a lot of these have been mentioned in terms of big whale, like top 100, top 500 ETH wallets actually accumulating some of these. And Avalanche still at around $20. Seems to be a rather nice price point for Avalanche, but still very oversold, but making a bit of recovery here as Bitcoin ranges at around 21,000 right now. Let's just have a little look at some of the biggest losers. Terra Classic there, Tether Gold, Pax Gold, AMP, Tensor, Gate, Leo. Not many big losers there on that list of all these large caps. Then we're into stablecoins. So those are the updates in terms of what's been performing well over the last 7 days. In terms of one of the coins that has seen a lot of inflows, so this was on one of the Whale Accounts wallets on Twitter, posted about this, and it's getting a bit of a run through the media here on Daily Hodl. Crypto whales are pouring in capital to Ethereum-based altcoin, and this one is FTT. So out of the top 500 ETH whales, a load of them are gobbling up the FTT token, which is the native token of FTX exchange. No real surprise there. Like last cycle when you had Binance, dominate in the market due to a load of really clever positioning for themselves. This time around, we're seeing Sam, the team at Alameda, the FTX guys making huge acquisitions. They're going to be in a very strong position in the next cycle, and thus the FTT token, which kind of represents their overall stake in the market, their power, their kind of superiority, that kind of thing. Of course, it should be one of the biggest gainers in the next cycle if history is to repeat. And also, there's going to be a load of traders on FTX exchange, more than there was in the previous cycle. FTT is burned, as a proportion of the fees from FTX exchange goes directly to burning FTT. Covered that in previous videos. Very interesting stuff, and I expect, FTT to be a good performer. What are the Bitcoin whales doing? Well, the third biggest Bitcoin whale, this account here, 1P5, it's just been accumulating, DCAing in. So essentially, they just do not stop buying Bitcoin. This was doing the rounds earlier on Twitter, like saying this guy's bought over 900 Bitcoins this month. That is not much to shout home about for this account, to be honest with you. They're always buying. So he's continually bullish. You can see from the blue line here, this is the amount or the balance of Bitcoins. Generally just trending upwards. You can see they kind of goes down a bit here as the Bitcoin price is spiking, and as BTC price, the red line, is going down, the amount of coins they're actually adding goes up. So they're kind of playing the market pretty well here. But if we just go through some of the transactions here, whether it's May, they're buying like 480, 86, 300. Whether it's June, they're buying another 400, 400, 300, 200. And then into July, they bought 800 here. They bought 600 here, 186, 130, and then just 4 the other day as well. So continual DCA mode from the biggest Bitcoin whales out there. No surprises, Bitcoin's going to have a huge future on the global scale. We're seeing mass riots and, bankruptcy being declared by Sri Lanka right now. The people just stormed the Prime Minister's office. You're seeing widespread issues in the Netherlands over protests as to the government just telling farmers to stop farming because, their cows are literally farting too much. It is inevitable that people will opt out of fiat money systems and into the global internet of value, BTC, at some point. And so, the big bag holders here of Bitcoin continue to be bullish. So that is all well and good. Then we have this, the block exclusive. Justin Sun says he's ready to spend $5 billion on acquisitions as crypto firms struggle. And he tweets out, ready to serve. Good game, Justin Tron, who may be the savior that we do not deserve. So 5 events that could put an end to the current crypto bear market. Now comment down below what big event could take place that you think could flip this market from bearish to bullish, excluding the ones that they mention here. So the 5 that they mention here is first and foremost a successful Ethereum merge. Now, question is this enough to flip the market from bear to bull? I'm not sure. The amount of activity on the ETH chain right now is not that great. And so obviously moving to a model which is going to be more deflationary and a model that will help, put the power in the hands of stakers. So you get people who want to stake and hodl rather than miners who mine and have to dump. It is a very big seismic shift in terms of the monetary policy of Ethereum, which if you just view it as a global currency, which it will be, and which it kind of already is, if on the scale of actual countries out there, the Ethereum market cap is probably as big as the currencies of small countries out there right now and their GDPs. Will this actually flip the market back to bullish with a successful merge? I'm not sure if it's that big of a deal right now with the lack of retail interest, but nonetheless, a big monumental moment for the crypto space that will be very interesting once it goes live. Second up here, they list an approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. If you've just witnessed the last few months in crypto, this is not coming anytime soon, in my opinion, and I'm not even sure there would be that much interest straight off the bat at this point in time, but you never know. The third is probably the most likely. This could, reverse course if the Fed does in fact reverse its course on QT and raising up those interest rates. If they say, yep, no more hikes, let's go flat, maybe we'll even reduce interest rates in a few months' time, and let's stop the QT, let's start QE again soon. Yep, I think risk assets will have, a day in the sun once more. So that one probably is the biggest reason out there. Then they list a major adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender. They list some of the likely countries: Mexico, Panama, Honduras. Personally, I don't think any of these are big enough for us to flip from bear to bull just that quickly. But if this was maybe a nation like Russia using it as legal tender, or China using it as legal tender, of course, this would totally flip the script there. And the last reason, number 5, that Cointelegraph posts here, integration as a payment option by a large company. So Bitcoin being utilized by maybe an Apple or by Microsoft, or what does everyone use nowadays? Maybe Spotify, I don't know. Well, is that big enough of a reason to flip the market out of bear and back into bull mode? Personally, I do not think so at this point in time. I think the macro environment is going to dictate a lot more heavily. But that's your quiz question for today. Check the pinned comment down below. What event could flip us from bear to bull? What is that key narrative that needs to be flicked on? And then we can start the up only mode once more. Comment down below, guys. I'll catch you again tomorrow. Subscribe if you're new. Goodbye.